For them.
For them.
For them.
For them.
That
Oh my
dick.
God. Right?
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Happy to see you.
I'm happy to
be
see
here.
you too. If only everyone could see Ramona. She's wearing this leopard print robe against this like patterned background, and she looks like the opening credits to White Lotus. And I'm enjoying this so much.
I
'cause
will take
love
that.
show.
I
God,
will
it's
take
good.
that. It is sumptuous.
I'm heartbroken that there's
a-
only one more episode.
Heartbroken.
I could watch Parker Posey just as like a character for the rest of my life.
Taiwan Piper. God.
Piper. By the way, Sutton sort of occasionally will sound like Parker Posey's character from The White Lotus. She's like, when she talks, I don't know, what does she say? Piper, no. Like occasionally Sutton will
God.
be like, I think it's when she was talking about Keely not having been married with kids. She's like, I just think it's a red flag. I was like, oh my God, get off of HBO and back onto Bravo.
Are they
Ma'am.
decent people? Are they decent people? Like,
Lightly high all the time.
wow. Yeah. Oh, God. I love that show. I love this season so much. I love it. I love it. I can just taste the jasmine rice every time anyone sits down to have a meal.
It's so beautiful. Like I was watching it and I was doing that stupid thing that I'm now conditioned to do where I hold my phone in my hand and anytime there's like a scene transition or it's not high drama, I'll look and check my email. Why? And I eventually just like threw my phone across the couch because I was missing all of like the beautifully curated B-roll of like monkeys doing weird shit or acting suspicious or being funny or waves breaking at dawn or like I just kept missing all of like the immersive beauty of Thailand and I didn't want to miss it anymore. So I had to throw my phone to the other side of the room.
Immersive is the perfect word to describe this season. More than Italy, more than Hawaii. Yeah, you're right. This season, and we're not going to give spoilers. We don't do that. We respect TV way too much to do that. We're going to talk in a general way about what it's like. My point is that I actually feel like I'm in that resort.
The sound is incredible.
Yeah.
The way anytime anyone's in the water, it's incredible. It's just the attention to every detail is mind-blowing. And I was so furious at my weird technology addiction that I was like, you put your head down and you missed that shot of the resort, that wide shot from like aerial wide shot at night where it's sparkling in a jungle. Everything about it is so incredible. The music is amazing. I love when they subtitle, they do it in Thai and in English. Like everything about it is so thoughtful. I can barely stand it. I feel like I could watch it 100 times and never see everything.
Me too. I agree. And that's what we watched. What was your antidepressant? Just kidding.
Right, exactly.
Listen, we saved some time at the end. It's fine. It's fine. Speaking of time, I don't know about you, Margie, but when it comes to discussing the reunion episodes of whatever franchise we're talking about, taking notes is literally, I think today it took me 5 hours because I know that's probably, I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. I don't know what the F is wrong. No, it's travel anxiety. We're going out of town next week and I'm already like in my head, waking up, thinking about things that I have no business thinking about.
Waking up in the morning.
You know?
Thinking about so many things. Oh, you didn't watch Jersey. Oh, that's
I did not.
Gia's song from The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
No, I didn't.
It was her processing divorce and it was hilarious and tragic, like divorce.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Gia. Yeah, I'm on no sleep and my ADHD, if I look at the claim forms that my therapist and my psychiatrist send me to, submit to my insurance for reimbursement. The diagnosis they use is ADHD, inattentive. So I do my best. I took my meds this morning. However, when you take your meds, if you've had 4 hours of sleep, it kind of just it doesn't do shit, right? So, and I can't decide what is worth throwing away and what is worth writing down. So I I don't know what to even it's so jam-packed. And reunions by nature are like that because they're talking about all of the high points of the whatever. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm going to do my best to not have this be a 10-hour podcast because it can't be. It just can't. I won't let it. I won't allow it. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no. And it's
No one needs that.
it's it's I'm with you. It's easy to get in the weeds in the reunion
Yes.
episodes because
Yes.
there's, flashback packages to bring us up to speed and then
Yes.
discussion and then over talking and it's just so it's a lot. But there were tent poles along the way that I think we can sort of use as guidelines so that we don't get too trapped in everybody just being who they
Tent
are.
poles. Tent
Tent
poles.
poles. I don't
This
know.
is how you are. We distinguish that you are the writer of the duo.
Sure, sure.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Anyway, tent poles. Love that. Shall we just rip the Band-Aid off and get right to
Let's
it?
do it.
All right. So we have arrivals, and the one that bummed me out from the jump was Dorit's. She greets her handler, and she just says she's anxious to get into glam. And right from the jump, I'm like, oh, are you anxious to get into glam, Dorit? Because is that when you feel safe? Is when you look like the version of yourself that you consider to be perfect? I've made it no secret that she's very much a person whose image is of the highest priority. And I would speculate that it's because it gives her a false sense of security. Or maybe it's not that deep and she was just running late. Or it's both. I don't know.
I mean, I would want to put my armor on before,
Very fair, Margie.
it's
Very
brutal
fair.
out there.
Very
Um,
fair.
we did get a glimpse at Kyle charging her crystals in the sunlight, in the dawn sunlight.
Oh, I have notes about that.
Oh, is that? Oh, sorry.
Oh,
And
no,
yeah, and then
no.
I have questions for you about, did Sutton gift Garcelle a vibrator?
I couldn't remember
What's
who brought it in,
happening?
but yes.
It was
Was it?
Sutton.
Was it?
I'm so
Fascinating.
confused. The
I
girl who
mean,
stormed out of Magic Mike because it was disgusting. Now on camera, the American Ballet Theater watches her gift a full-on rabbit style. It's not just like a nondescript. It's got multifunction. Anyways,
yeah. It
I
was,
was so confused. I'm like, are you starting a line of sex toys? Why are you doing this? Like,
I
what's
wonder
happening?
if she picked it up at a hospitality suite.
Probably.
Or I don't
Probably.
know, maybe there's a store on Melrose that I don't know about that she popped into and
Maybe
thought
it's
it
a
was
Sutton
hilarious.
branded vibrator. What do I know?
Interesting. Maybe it's circular vibrator. Just kidding. That would be not okay. That would be very questionable. So Kyle charging her crystals. It frustrated me. I was tired. Again, when I'm tired, I get a little bitchy / cranky / in the mind of suffering not one goddamn fool, not half a fool, not a quarter of a fool, not an eighth of a fool, not a teaspoon of a fool. We get it, Ramirez. Move on. My point is that if only Kyle put as much effort into her internal work as she does into bringing a metric ton of heavy crystals with her to a reunion, charging them outside, and then toting them in with her to the soundstage. I will admit fully, I have a little dish of crystals next to my bed. They're beautiful, and each one that I have represents something that one's self-love, one's creativity, yada, yada. My point is, though, I do work on my insides so that crystals aren't the only thing that I rely on to bring me safety and security when I'm about to go into a confrontational situation. I'm not saying that Kyle doesn't do that. I am saying that I don't see any evidence that she is. I am saying that earlier in the season, Dr. Jamie said you avoid uncomfortable conversations with your husband. So crystals are an outside fix. Working out obsessively is an outside fix. I can't say that Kyle is doing most of those things definitively. I can speculate, is what I'm saying. It's real fucking uncomfortable to sit with uncomfortable feelings. It can be on a scale of itchy to excruciating. I'm not saying it's not hard. I am saying the only way out is motherfucking through, and crystals cannot be the only thing. Again, it might not be that deep.
I was just surprised because part of me was like, is this Morgan? Because we've never seen Kyle like dip into like the metaphysical or anything before. We've seen her do therapy and exercise, like you said, but I was like, crystals, like who are you? I get really bothered because I just feel like I'm being tricked. I'm like, I don't. So you're charging crystals outside, and we're all just supposed to be like, yeah, sure, of course, Kyle's charging. I'm like, no, that's a Spencer Pratt thing. Like there are certain people who I'd be
Mm.
like, yes, of course, they're charging crystals, duh. But Kyle just casually mentioning that, like, it just all of it is just so she confuses me and I feel unsafe
Yeah,
because
no,
I don't
she
know who
should.
she is.
She was a monster this episode that would should surprise nobody. And again, I'll just say to share my okay, like one of the last times I saw my dad, probably the very last time I saw my dad, before I left on that trip, I did tuck my rose quartz into my carry-on bag and I put it into the pocket of my jeans or whatever pants I was wearing that day when I was going to see him. And I would touch it and I remember, ground yourself, Ramona. Come back to yourself, Ramona. But it wasn't the cure to take care of how uncomfortable I was going to be while I was seeing him. Does that make sense? It was
Yeah,
it was a
it's a
uh
grounding tool.
yeah, it was a tool. It wasn't the thing. That has to come from within me. And again, I'm not saying 100% for sure that Kyle is just relying on the crystals and nothing else. I'm just saying, does her behavior lead me to believe that she is doing other work? F to the no. Moving on. Moving on.
Well, we move right back to Kyle, where Andy visits her in her dressing room and asks her about the double standard that people have had expressed issues with about what she's willing to share versus what she expects of others. And Kyle just snarky right out the gate is like, what have we seen from Garcelle? And I was like, oh, I seem to remember a confessional where she talked about her son's addiction story, where she kicked him off of her property and sent her addicted son into the streets as an act of like like, what the fuck do you mean? Sorry that she didn't, I don't know. It just is so whatever. And then she goes, Sutton's sustainability line. Cool. I was like, oh my God, you. And Sutton, meanwhile, is next door just getting ready to kiss her ass, just stretching and warming up to take it from Kyle. And Kyle's there just dismissive and gross. And like you said in the tweet or the Blue Sky post or whatever that you sent me, Kyle went to Sutton's home to visit her family of origin and all of the stories that came along with it that are tragic. So to just be like, shrug her sustainability line, cool.
When she let that bullshit out of her mouth, we were only 81 fucking seconds into this reunion episode. I was so mad. A, she had fucking tendrils. She was getting her hair done with her prerequisite fucking tendrils. So I was already pissed off about that. B, yeah, Sutton shows us her whole ass mother wound, which is not a little tiny thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have that one. I have the dad issues. But like, she has that. We saw it. Taking her friends to her childhood home were the most traumatic thing one of the most traumatic things that anyone can go through. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it.
And telling the
Eh,
story like
right.
with so much, like she was there reliving it literally in the room where she touched his toe for the last time
Oh my
before
God.
he trotted off and took himself off the planet. Like,
Yeah, in a very violent way, which I had a friend when I was in college who did the same thing. And it broke my fucking heart because, I mean, our mutual friends and I talked about it. Like, it was just all we could mean was that, like, that was the amount of self hatred she was in.
Yeah, some people get an incurable case of
Yeah.
depression.
And so for Kyle to say that these people don't share, I wanted to I was
Or just to
I was
reduce it to
offended
the
to
clothing
reduce it.
line. It's
Right.
just like the clothing line,
Cognitive
like, yeah,
cognitive
was
dissonance, self-centeredness wrapped up in some stupid ass fucking tendrils and possibly the worst reunion dress I've seen in a long time that wasn't worn by Tamara Barney, Judge, whatever. Moving on.
yeah, she had a lot of hair too. It was like Teresa Giudice weddings amount of extensions. I was like, whoa,
Keep
you're
doing that.
really
Keep doing those work with crystals, Kyle. Keep piling that hair on. Keep doing whatever
um
you're doing, but doing the actual inner work. I'm pissed. Pissed.
then we have everyone taking the stage, and I just was bothered. Andy asked Erika about her dress. She said, "Ooh, who's that? Who are you wearing?" And she goes, "I don't know, some random designer I had made." I'm like, dude, that random designer's whole career could have skyrocketed in this moment, and you dismiss them as random designer. Oh, you think it's off the rack?
Oh no, 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 no.
You think it's Marco Marco?
This designer is established as hell. The
Oh,
fact that Erika was even allowed to wear this dress, personally, if that was that designer, I would have been like, no, trash. You're not going to fucking wear this. Go pat the puss somewhere else. This designer's name is Valdrine Sahidi, sorry, whose dresses have been worn by, brace yourself, J to the fucking low, Beyonce, and one Ms. Mariah fucking Carey. Those are just three. I went to this designer's Instagram and the dresses are stunning. Like some of the bridal dresses, I was like, oh, damn, if I could do it all over again.
ooh, I just looked it
Stunning,
up. These are gorgeous.
right?
Wow.
So for Erika to say, I don't know, some random designer, like you should count your lucky fucking stars that anyone, whether they're up and coming or established, would possibly want to dress you.
It looks
Because,
like Garcelle's dress too.
oh my God, I love Garcelle's dress. That was my favorite dress.
Yeah, I think that's her dress, right? You can't
Oh,
see.
I
Who
mean, it's very
cares?
similar.
Anyways,
It's
yeah.
very similar, but what
Yeah,
a
well,
fucking asshole,
this
dude.
person makes beautiful dresses, and if that's who designed it, then she either way, to not name the designer and to behave as if like you're too busy to know is gross to me. Like you're so lucky you're not in jail right now. Like you should be, and you put Marco Marco in jail who designed lots of clothes for you. So like maybe be kind to a designer as like an act of living amends, but no.
Oh no. No, no,
She
no, no,
just said,
no.
some
No.
random designer I had made.
She
Okay.
and she says it in her voice that she thinks she's just, oh, Erica Jade, I'm so edgy. I'm gonna say things that everybody else is too afraid to say. That's what I do.
I
Fuck
just
you.
don't think it's cool to. We learned Martin Lawrence Ballard's name, and we heard it 7,000 times, and all he did was like slap on some wallpaper and put a coffee table that becomes part of the reunion set at some point
Oh
in
my
your
God,
house. So
dude. Oh my
come on,
God.
man.
Oh my God.
Then we have a little bit of foreshadowing as Garcelle compliments Kyle when Kyle walks by her, and Kyle acknowledges the language but does not make eye contact, and Garcelle takes note. So that's not a great foreshadowing moment.
My God. And then Andy mentions the crystals, and Kyle says, oh, they're going to bring me strength and clarity and calm me down a bit so I don't end up in the hospital last year like Sutton did after she fainted. Like, fuck you. Dr. Jamie 2 or 3 times a week. Put him on your speed dial instead of TMZ.
Listen,
Backgrid.
Kyle
Splash
wants
News.
to be right. She does not want to be happy, and
You
that is
said
what she
it.
gets.
You
So
said it, man. God damn it, dude.
then we
You know
talk.
what,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No,
Go
I don't need
ahead.
to say it again. No, there's no need for me to even, there's no need for me to
We
repeat
touched
myself.
in on Erika having some sort of featured song in the movie Enora, which I haven't seen. And at the time, it had won the Palme d'Or, as she like let us all know, and it has since gone on to win Best Picture. I watched the Oscars. I didn't hear anyone mention Erika in their acceptance speech, but she
No.
seems she has great ownership in the success of that movie somehow, her attitude. But whatever, I guess I would too. I'd be really proud too. It's just hard to root for Erika. I
Uh-huh.
did think of what you said of like, good, earn money to pay back the victims when the courts finally force you to. her nightmare is just beginning. Tom has now been convicted, which puts all the focus on her. How much did she know? They're coming after her to find out. And she will have to settle because they will find enough to take her to trial. And if she's smart, she won't put this in front of a jury. So she should have lots of money to give these people. So good for her. Good for her Oscar winning Best Picture. And may that money swiftly find its way to the people who
Swiftly.
are the rightful recipients.
I know some furniture they can repo and sell for a pretty penny. And that goddamn Porsche. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a bow on it? Fuck you. Anyway, Andy congratulates Garcelle on becoming a grandma. And we learn that Oliver is still working for Lisa Vanderpump.
And that LVP wants to be the godmother.
Yeah, gross. No,
Garcelle
Garcelle.
did not look like she was entertaining that at all.
No, God, no. Andy tells Bose she had a great first season, and he congratulates Dorit that it was so cool to see her in the pages of British Vogue. I rolled my eyes, and then I thought to myself, now, was she in like the newsstand version of British Vogue, or was it the digital version only online? I'm a dick, but I also don't like Dorit. That's my math. Moving on, Andy asks the cast if they have any intentions, and the only one we have the privilege, unfortunately, of hearing is Kyle saying that she wants to leave feeling better than she did when she arrived. And I wrote, do the work. Do your work.
Think outside of yourself for a second. It's
Oh.
like, what can you bring to the party rather than what can you take? She's like, me. I want to feel better than when I arrived. We got Garcelle too, who said she hopes that they can all talk through everything and take a full cast photo at the end. Since they have not been able to do so in the past 2 years. But, cut to, she walks off and leaves. So that will not be happening. Her intention has been, that will not come to fruition.
I can't fault her. We'll get there.
I marked the moment when she quit the show. It was really clear. Her whole body posture changed. I was talking to someone about, how when it's time to break up with someone, it just becomes like undeniable. And I literally witnessed the moment it happened in Garcelle in this reunion where she just stopped fighting. And it was one of her, okay.
Yeah.
And you just see her whole body language change and she's done and she knows it. And you see her start doing the math of like, nah. Especially, and Sutton is unforgivable. She's a monster.
I know.
To Garcelle, sweet, loyal, all the things Sutton claims she wants in a friend, she has sitting right there, and she forsakes it all for Kyle Richards, who literally says, how is that my fucking problem?
My God.
Okay?
I know.
But that's what Sutton gives up. Yeah, gives it up for. Anyways, I'm jumping all over the place. I just had a coffee, so I'm like,
oh, I'm jealous.
An 8 p.m. Don't be. An 8 p.m. coffee does not bode well for the rest of the evening, but
oh no, that's
in this
true.
moment.
So Andy starts with Dorit. She's the first housewife he's going to engage with, and he said Dorit went from Chanel toting to cigarette smoking, and then we see a montage of her whole arc this season. With PK from the very first season that they were on to now. Andy asks her about her smoking. She says she's a social smoker and turned more into a stress smoker. And she said she didn't give a fuck that she was on camera. And a viewer asked Andy to ask Dorit, was this season Dorit's attempt to keep her job? And I thought, okay, yeah, same here. I wonder the same thing. And Andy asked Kyle, oh, well, do you think Dorit was coming in hot to stay on the show? And I wrote, my name isn't Kyle, and nobody asked me, but yes, my answer would be yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But I thought Dorit's answer was great. She was like, well, Kyle, you would know if my job was in jeopardy, and it wasn't. You're well aware that it was not, so I didn't have anything to save or prove. I just came in.
I
was like, oof, burn. I did love while they were running the package of Dorit's season, and it was the moment when PK was toasting her and professing his love, Bose sweetly turned to Dorit and just acknowledged, she said, is it terrible to see this? And Dorit said, yeah, she just looked like stricken. And it just is a reminder that like, it is a TV show. And I appreciated Dorit's honesty saying that she still loves him. Like, Yeah, of course. But I don't know. Like, I've been in so many relationships where I know the right answer is no, fuck that guy. But I loved him. And so it is very hard. I appreciate everyone else hating him, and I know all the reasons why they're right. But I was grateful for Dorit being honest about like what the actual separation, the tearing apart of the grippiest Velcro that a real relationship closing out feels like. So, anyways, and I liked Bose for just sort of acknowledging her in that moment, basically saying, "This must be hard for you." I thought that was nice.
The eye roll that I gave, or the, like, skepticism that I gave, wasn't a judgment at you.
Oh,
It's
right.
my
You think it's
judgment.
a
I
story.
I do. I think it's a
Yeah.
story, and so that's why I think that oh, we'll get there. I don't wanna jump around. Yeah, and then Kyle doubles down for, like, one of like, the first of 1,000 more times to come in just this first installment alone. Kyle looks at Dorit and says, "That's what I said. I stand by that." That it was, that she seemed like in the beginning, she said she did feel like that. Dorit was all about, like, creating a storyline so that she can come back. That's how she felt, and that's what she's gonna stick to.
Then we sort of move into this discussion about Dorit not telling the kids about her and PK's separation and that the public thought that was a bad move. And Dorit digs in and says she does not regret the decision. And it sounds like she still has not told them. She sort of dances around it. And then Sutton unhelpfully, judgmentally shames Dorit, saying that she didn't tell her kids for a year. But she could have delivered it in that way, saying like, Dorit, I made the mistake of not telling my kids for a year, and I've learned betrayed their trust and caused damage. But instead, she was just like, she did it all wrong. She did it all wrong. But I think Sutton is right that it is a mistake to keep things from your kids because it does betray their trust, and they are not stupid. Like
Well,
they're old enough to understand that something is going on. Even if you think you're hiding it from them, they see the change in you, mom or dad.
and Dorit says earlier, she says, "Well, they haven't asked any questions." And
They're babies.
their children, number one, yes, they're children, and period, end of story. B, speaking as an adult child of an alcoholic, you don't ask questions. You don't ask questions because that could mean rocking the boat. That could mean upsetting your one parent that you can rely on, who is Dorit. And I don't know what could happen if you ask PK. Those kids aren't stupid. I've talked about this so many times throughout this season when we've seen a scene of Dorit maintaining why she doesn't choose to tell them. And I think that it is a huge mistake. I find it cruel and disrespectful to those kids.
Yeah, may
Mhm,
they
mhm.
find Al-Anon.
I honestly. Ooh.
And then Dorit goes on to say she sees less and less of a chance to reconcile with PK, but she is still in love with him, which is what makes it all so hard. That she knows she needs peace, and it appears she is prioritizing that. So,
I don't
well,
know.
yeah. I mean, I
I
just don't know. I push back on this being a story. Just I keep thinking about the scene when she brings Kyle into her house and it's in total fucking disarray. Food
mm,
wrappers, open
okay.
containers, shoes, clothes everywhere. And Kyle was shocked. Dead plant on the table. Like that's a person who is in despair. That's not staged. That looked
Mm.
very real. I guess I've been in that place and the way everything just sort of slowly starts to rot around you and you start to disappear away from it and not notice it. That looked like something that had happened over time, not like, "Ooh, I might bring Kyle upstairs, so let me put some clothes out and leave a Yoo-hoo bottle open." Like, it looked awful and sad.
That's a
So,
really good point, friend. That's a really, really good point. You're right. That's a really good point. I will take that into consideration. I will enter that into the evidence, counselor. What?
yes,
Oh God, into the exhibits? I don't know. That's not
sure.
my I'm not the lawyer in this duo.
Neither am I,
Yeah,
just raised around
so
them.
Andy says that they invited PK to the reunion, but he declined. But he did send a long statement that basically was boiled down to I, PK, declined this invite because it would not be constructive. Dorit has made mischaracterizations about me. The one I must address is I'm a bad father. And he wrote, it's false. And I wrote, is it though?
No, it's absolutely not. Because later we find out he sees his children on Saturday nights when
Mm-hmm.
he's in town.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
When
bad
he's in
father.
town. Yeah,
That's
he's a bad
exactly.
dad.
He's a bad father. And he's an
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic, which makes
Mm-hmm.
you an unsafe presence for your children. So just own
Mm-hmm.
that. Don't say you're a good dad. Say, I'm a dad who meant well but had a problem and I'm trying to do better now. But we also find out he's no longer sober. So you're a bad dad.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't tell. Well, yeah, we'll get there. Yes. But yes, it is. So he says it's hurtful to me and our kids who will see and hear the truth about this at a time not of our choosing. And I wrote, okay, that's fair. But
They're
he said,
living it, dude. They don't
right.
need
And
to
that's
see
what
and
I
hear
wrote.
it.
He's like, the closest to us know the truth. And I wrote, including your children.
Who
They
lived with
know
your
the
rage,
truth.
who lived with your
Right.
absence, who lived with your
Dude.
instability. How dare you?
And then when he has the audacity to write, many have wanted to speak out, I was all, sure, Jan.gif. Like, I've asked them not to because the truth should never need a champion. What the fuck? This man.
Can I just tell you, I think PK did not come to this reunion because he did not want to answer questions about his sobriety, about being an absentee father, about his criminal behavior, about the foreclosure. He doesn't want to answer anything. And so instead, he does this manipulative bullshit and puts it all on Dorit. This isn't the woman I married. May she
Oh
find her
my
way back to
God.
who she was. It's like, sir, what is this pre-foreclosure? The story you told Dorit is nuts. Like he just didn't want to come because he's drinking again. His house is in pre-foreclosure and he somehow saved it. Lucky him. And he's never home. He sees his kids on Saturday nights. How dare you,
When he's
sir?
here. Yeah, exactly. I
It's,
agree.
ugh,
I
get
agree.
out. You're a coward.
Yeah, his last line was disgusting and misogynistic as fuck. And I did love that Dorit responded with that, like, as in saying, dude, if I haven't changed in 14 years, then there's something wrong with me. Truth. I agree with that. There are many things that you could work on, Dorit, but I am glad that she can see that. I would be
Yeah.
glad that anyone could see that. That's true. Yeah. Oh, Andy asks Dorit, like, Dorit, we know that you love labels. We know you love your glam, yada, yada, yada. Was that a point of contention with PK? And she says yes, but she follows with, listen, he loves all this. And she motions to like the cameras and the soundstage and who she's sitting with and Andy Cohen, like
The fame
he,
and the
the fame
recognition
and the recognition.
suit
And
him.
he loves being asked for pictures. And I was like, yeah, we can tell it's fucking palpable. And Andy asks Dorit if fame has changed PK. And she says, I don't know if it's changed him, but he's insecure about it. And she starts to say he's an insecure person, but she stops herself. And she's like, it's hard to think about that way about my husband. Ooh. It's true, though. Come on, dude. We all see it. PK, you use filters.
But
Ew.
oh, I can't speak to that. I'll,
No,
I'll filter
he's
the hell out of myself. But he is
Margie,
insecure.
but
He's an
he
addict. So am I. Like I spotted, I got it.
well, no, but you cannot compare yourself to
Oh
PK.
no, God, not on a lot of levels, but like, and many people who turn to addictive behaviors are insecure and hypersensitive and have no tools. You know what I mean?
I know.
So like, it doesn't feel like a mischaracterization to call him insecure.
No, it doesn't at all. It doesn't. And listen, I'm the first person to admit I have hella insecurities. You know what I mean? And I wonder if you could reframe that about yourself too, that you're not insecure, but you have insecurities.
I have
Because
insecurities. Yes. No,
you,
I can absolutely make that amendment.
yeah, and I say that with love because like PK using filters isn't, how do I explain it? You know what? I'm too tired to get into it. It's just,
It's
it's
fair.
different.
That's fair.
It's different. It's different. I feel like I'm going to go off on a tangent and it's not going to be relevant. And I'm sure people already can like figure it out. Like I'm not, I'm not geniusing over here behind this microphone.
Kyle takes this opportunity to name call Dorit, basically saying that she does think fame has changed Dorit, or something happened this year because she saw a new version of her she didn't know, someone who's angry and aggressive. And I was just like, oh, once again, you cannot control her. This whole first segment of the reunion is Kyle trying to flex control over everyone in that space by yelling over them, whining at them, victimizing herself. And in this moment, you get a flash of like, she senses she's lost control of Dorit. And so now what she must do is tell everyone why they should hate Dorit. She's angry and aggressive and a fame whore. And it's like, wow, dude.
And in this little missive that she's throwing out, she says, and I quote, "I know her so well." So what is it, Kyle? Again, I said this, I don't know how many times in the last 17 episodes behind us. You're saying while it's convenient for you on this soundstage right now, you're saying that you know her so well. But last summer in the Amazon Live, heard Round the Bravoverse, you say, well, we're not that close. Like, you can't keep track of your own bullshit. You're a fucking dishonest liar. You are a liar and the adult child and sibling of an alcoholic. There.
Yeah. And Dorit calls her on it because Kyle, the next segment is the backlash from Kyle sort of dismissing Dorit, telling her that PK has a temper and she refers to him as the monster.
Mm.
And Dorit says to Kyle, like, well, because Kyle had said, well, I've never seen that side of PK. And Dorit says, well, that wouldn't be a surprise because you claim your relationship with him is memes and jokes. So you wouldn't know that side of him. Unless, am I mistaken? Are you good friends? What is it? And I was like,
loved
yes,
it.
Dorit.
I loved it.
Absolutely.
I did. And I did appreciate that the viewer Snoop-a-loop777 asked
God bless.
Andy on Twitter, Kyle saying that she'd never seen that side of PK, that maybe Dorit is exaggerating to manipulate her side of the story, feels similar to people undermining domestic abuse victims. I was so fucking stoked that someone said that and that Andy chose that question. And what does Kyle do with that? Goddamn nothing. Nothing.
She doubles down. She says, I was defending PK against these claims of alcoholism, being a bad dad and a monster because he wasn't there to defend himself.
My God.
So you not only dismissed what Dorit said, you doubled down on the abuser, basically, and said, they're great. I've never seen that, so it can't be true. My experience is the only one that matters. And then she later sort of backtracks saying like, well, you were exaggerating things about me. So I thought maybe you were doing about that about PK too. It's like, well, it all comes back to Kyle, always right back to her. She doesn't care the wreckage she creates in presenting the case for her to be the victim or the hero. And in this case, like you said, I'm glad they called it out too. Like, this has repercussions, Kyle, when you blindly defend someone who may be abusing his wife and children.
Right?
It's not just about you. It actually has societal repercussions because of your platform. So
exactly.
But she couldn't even take that in. Didn't even land.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And then she has the audacity to sit on a planter in Hancock Park and look Dorit in the eye and say, I'm a girl's girl, while she aligns herself with the fucking oppressor right here, with P goddamn K, to benefit herself. To benefit herself. She's disgusting and misogynistic, just like her former bestie.
Are you talking about LVP?
Yeah, I'm talking about Kyle. Kyle and LVP,
LVP,
are two cut from the same cloth, cut from the same velvet, tendril-having, fucking outdated outfit-wearing cloth.
Yeah.
Good night. I'm just kidding.
Then we move on to Sutton. Oh, God. Talking about how she felt that Dorit was calling PK an alcoholic in every chance she got. And Dorit explained, like, yes, it appeared that way on film, but that all happened in the same week. So I was just telling each individual person what was going on. Everyone has a big reaction to this. And of course, Sutton does, because she's like, you threw your husband under the bus. And it's like, well, because you're an alcoholic and you wouldn't want anyone to do that to you.
Right.
And then Kyle cites her outing of Kim as an alcoholic as like her basis for thinking Dorit was out of line and doing that. But again, I don't know. The truth is the truth. Again, as someone who grew up in a household where no one ever called it out, and to this day, I was like, it's not that bad. It's like, it was terrible. It blew up our whole lives a bunch of times. But unless you're in the moment of crisis with the alcoholic, if you're an untreated Al-Anon, you just sort of turn your head and go like, it can't be that bad.
Oh my God.
Sutton, my
Oh
dad.
my God. Yes, I know.
I
I know.
know.
So Dorit calls Kyle out and says, I was telling you about the issues in my marriage and you diminished it and said I was using it as an opportunity to paint him in a bad light. Kyle takes that, makes it about herself, and says, you have to think about where I was in that moment. Oh, do we, Kyle? Do we need to think about where you were in that moment? Oh my God. I listen, if she hits me with her car and I'm bleeding out in the street, she's going to be like, well, I was stressed. I just got in this car accident. I was stressed. I couldn't think about you bleeding out in the street. And she will literally not think that what she's doing is problematic. Anyway.
Yeah, and she just wanted applause for
Mm-hmm.
sending a text to Dorit. But
Oh
as
my
Dorit
God,
sort of
dude.
harps on, she's like, you sent me a text after you sent one to my ex-husband, and you actually only sent that text to me after conferring with Erika. And Kyle like tries to deny it, but then they roll footage of Kyle only like literally saying, well, I will send her this text because no one else reached out to her. She didn't say because I ache for my friend and I can't believe I've been sitting on it for this long. She's like, well, because I want to look good, so I'll send it. But she'd already sent a heartfelt text to PK and then this afterthought to Dorit and then wants applause. Well, no one else sent a text. I did. And the whole season became about how I sent it at whatever time I sent it. And it's like, well, it's the context you sent it in,
Oh
dude. You
my
sent
God.
a text to PK and then to your former best friend or not. Like, I don't, she's so confusing and annoying and her crystals are not working on the clarity
No,
front, at least.
no, nor on the calm front. So
Right.
yeah, but but if she's not calm, it's because everybody else is making her not feel calm.
Oh,
But yeah.
yeah.
And I loved it that like she was the one that's like, should we roll the tape? Should we roll the tape? So they rolled the tape. They rolled the tape. And it's like, you're a dick. And you
Yeah.
can't not one impetus to say, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Listen, I can't imagine having conflict with one of my close people and then having them go through something like Dorit was going through and not being like, oh my fucking God, whatever thing that was making us have conflict right now is completely irrelevant in this moment. That's small, it's petty, it's at least at the very best, it's on the back burner.
And
But
you wouldn't be reaching out to them to get something back. You would
exactly,
be setting aside old things that in
exactly.
perspective are not relevant in a moment when someone's going through a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, she's just defensive and self-centered to a point
Mm-hmm.
that it's like it literally made me like sick. I was just like, please stop talking, please stop whining, please stop yelling.
I I have
Oof.
0.0 respect for her. I
Yeah.
actively disrespect Kyle Richards.
I don't understand how Morgan hangs out. I'm like, who is Morgan Wade? It makes me really wonder about her. I'm like, what do
I
you guys
mean,
see in each other? Like, what
I
is the common ground? Kyle's not a creative. Kyle's not like, what do they do? Then we sort of move into Dorit mentioning that PK gave her permission to talk about his sobriety journey. And Kyle starts digging in on semantics about the word alcoholism versus sobriety journey. But if memory serves, he mentioned meetings and steps and a sponsor on
yeah.
camera in that scene with Dorit. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Kyle has a leg to stand on here.
Of course she doesn't.
And then Andy asks about PK's sobriety status, and Dorit sort of demurs, and Andy, to use the word that Dorit clearly learned for the first time and used all episode long, Andy intimates that PK is drinking again. And Dorit says she has huge concerns. And that is brutal. And I hope, I hope he circles wide of those kids
Mm-hmm.
if he's back in it, you know?
Oh my God.
And then Erika goes, is that my living room table?
Dude.
In the middle of this conversation about PK losing his sobriety, this narcissist is just like, me? My furniture? Mine? I was like, oh my. And she goes, that's just how my head works. And it's like, that's not news. Nobody here
For
is
them.
surprised. For them.
For them.
For them.
For them.
That
Oh my
dick.
God. Right?
Ugh.
Right? Oh boy. Then We'll just touch on this for a few seconds. Andy pivots to Sutton and says, "You've had a lot to say about Dorit and PK's finances. If they divorce, what do you think the forensic accountants will find? Are you worried about her?" And Sutton says, "Yes." And Dorit says, "Well, you have to care about someone to worry about them." And Sutton says, "I worry about all women." Like, it's no secret that Sutton is my problematic fave. I know that I have to work on that. I will work on it legitimately, though, not just with the aid of crystals. And I'm sorry, Sutton, you do not care about all women. You don't care about half women. You don't care about a majority of women, I would say. This this scene was this scene was ugly, dude.
She's such an asshole. She
Mm.
starts digging in on Dorit, like, "Whose name is on the mortgage?" Oh, this is when she sounds like Parker Posey. She's like, "Whose name is on the mortgage? You should know that." I was like, "Oh my God." And then Sutton was like, "Well, I was surprised that in my divorce, I found out I own 2 baseball teams." And Andy was like, "Well, that's a good surprise." And she's like, "Oh, well, I know." It's just like Sutton is
Oh my
never not
God.
looking for a chance to make sure everyone knows that she's the best.
So, Andy asks Dorit, like, "Hey, there's reports going around that your house is under foreclosure. Is your house under foreclosure?" Dorit says, "No." "Well, then why are we hearing these rumors?" he asks. And Dorit says, "There were reports that it was in pre-foreclosure. I had no idea about it." Then she launches into a story about why PK was refusing to pay it that sounded to me like exactly like when Erika was like, "Tom was robbed, and then my son's car rolled over twice down a cliff in the snow in Pasadena." God bless the Reddit sleuths because, there are some people with access to legal paperwork in the subreddit, and they post things that they have privy to, and some of these things are just available on the you know, on like the internet anyone can access. So I today procrastinating because these notes were oppressing me. Taking these notes was oppressing me. I Googled a little bit and they had missed 4 payments. And so their house was in pre-foreclosure. They did the paperwork said that as of December 2024, the payments were current. But Dorit is the signatory on the deed to the house. She is the quote unquote manager in the legal paperwork. So I don't know. I Googled Dorit and the word LLC and 12 companies came up.
I mean, I don't think it's any secret. Like,
It,
she's in terrible trouble. I
yeah.
just don't think it's cute that Sutton is like Dorit is in terrible trouble when she at some point says, "What I dreamed would be my future is not going to be." I think she knows this includes a level of socioeconomic trauma that is headed her way. And I just
Hmm.
don't enjoy Sutton saying, "I own 2 baseball teams," when this woman will lose her house, will face criminal prosecution.
I
You're right.
know.
I'm sure she has 15,000 different companies. Like, it's a disaster. And Sutton knows that too. And I just think it's gross to like relish in it.
It is gross, Margie. It is gross to relish in it. But at the same time, I keep coming back to the fact that she's so hung up. Her priority with all of that bullshit behind her, because all of these companies are in Dorit's name. They're not in PK's, including the one that he uses, I believe, to manage Board George. It's called Nixie Entertainment. And she's listed as the CEO, the CFO, the director, and the secretary. PK is not listed as the owner. That to me seems, what the fuck do I know? Maybe it's not sus, but it feels kind of sus to me,
Look,
you
if I
know?
had a husband who was not an American citizen who wanted to open businesses, if it's my husband, I wouldn't blink. Like I have an S corp and like my sister is the vice president and my mom is the treasurer just cuz
I
I needed
know, but like,
and but yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think I think what's ahead for her, and I think you see it occurring to her now, it's what happened to Erica Jane. At a certain point, if you're in bed with a criminal, you're gonna have to get some clarity on what's happened and how deep you were drawn into it by turning your head to not look at the details, you know?
but she turned her head
Willfully.
willfully
Sure.
because her labels and her posts and her image and her $600 glam to go to a fucking Lakers game, again, name one fucking Laker that isn't a marquee name. I'll wait. Like that, she's contributing to it. Like
$100%.
and
Yeah.
that is what makes me feel, and again, just like Erika, like it's more than guilty by association. It's enabling it. It's benefiting from that shadiness. And so
Yes, but that's the insidiousness of a criminal like PK. Is like they slowly draw you in and then you're in so deep that you've become accustomed to a lifestyle and like, it's she but it does I sense in Dorit that she I don't know. I can't honestly, the truth is I keep thinking about her kids. I'm obsessed with her little ballet dancing
I know,
daughter,
I
and
know.
I don't find any joy in her losing her home because the other people who lose that home are those two little kids, which will destabilize them and create two new monsters instead of, kids with a stable home. But he ruined that
I
already. So
know, but like
what can you do?
Dorit can help prevent that as well. But she
Yeah.
doesn't want to wear shit from Old Navy.
Well,
She wants to get $600 glam to go to a fucking Lakers game.
but I think she senses those days are numbered. When she says, "My future is not gonna be what I thought it was," I don't think that's just about a partnership with PK. I think it's about a decade of lawsuits and losses ahead of her, and downsizing and all the things that
Yeah.
Erika whines about. But Erika, I find far more egregious because of the people who were harmed in her situation.
Yes.
$20 million taken
Yes.
directly from people who won their court case
Mhm.
and still haven't seen a penny while she gets a Porsche with a bow on it and still has those stupid earrings that she never wears. She just has them. It's so obnoxious.
She's obnoxious. She's repugnant.
Well, she's not out of the woods. So
Mm-mm.
the arc
Mm-mm.
of justice is long, but it bends toward truth,
Oh God, your lips, God's ears. Your
right?
lips, God's ears, please. Yes, for a multitude of reasons. That can apply to a multitude of situations we find ourselves in. But we have Andy pivoting to Bose's package. In addition to her impressive resume, she can add being Dorit's spokesperson to her resume. We see a montage of her season.
It's just sort of, I don't know. Bose basically said being part of the cast, she realized all the emotions and relationships are real and that the intensity of the time they spend together makes all feelings get very big very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
She mourns the loss of her home to
Oh,
the Malibu fires, which was heartbreaking. They showed images of it and it was beautiful. It's fucking, as she said, beyond devastating.
yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
reports that she and Keely have now said they love each other. Yeah, then I just lost my mind. Then we see some unseen footage or never before seen footage where Sutton says she found it suspicious that Keely had never been married or had kids. And Sutton expects that it's due to commitment issues. And I'm just like, I'm exhausted by single people being stigmatized in such a way. And Sutton says it makes her nervous when men are approaching 50 and never married. And then I went off. I said, so it's better when a man is approaching 50 and divorced. That's how somehow doesn't imply commitment issues. Not all, but a solid majority of broken marriages on my radar ended due to some sort of infidelity. Is that not a commitment issue? It's a 60-40 gamble. Everyone comes into it with issues. Some manage and heal their issues and grow together. Some manage and heal their issues and find they grow apart. Some never deal with their issues and carry them right into their next relationship. How is marriage a sign of any commitment stability? Blah, blah. This goes on and on. I just am so sick of, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize it happened to men too. It's real quick for everyone. And I wish I'd had opportunities to get married. And in retrospect, I would so much rather be a sympathetic divorcee than a fucking pariah of a never married. It's a nightmare. I don't think it's the same for younger generations, but this generation, it's awful. Do not recommend. So this just made me look, I already have trouble with Sutton, and this just made me go like, "Oh, okay." And
Yeah,
what was the nature of your stable relationship?
right.
Oh, because I remember last season you cried about it and it destroyed you, and so that's better? But it is, apparently it's better. It doesn't indicate commitment issues or relationship issues if you get divorced, no matter the circumstance. So fucking annoying to me, but
I read on Reddit every single day about people that are in marriages that sound terrible. But okay, fine, Sutton. Yeah, they're married. And I literally read some of this shit and I have to I have to shut down. The circumstances sound depressing as hell. I'm not even talking about like traumatic things happening in a marriage. I'm talking about just emotional disconnection. Just I'm miserable and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, like life is short, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to we all know what I'm saying. So yes, what I'm saying is I co-sign with everything you just said. I get it. I get it. Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just
I
another
don't want
moment.
Sutton to hurt you, man. I don't want Sutton to hurt you. She's fucking
She's not hurting
crazy.
me. Someone else is hurting me. This is, all the mothers of my classmates in Pasadena going like, from the era of like, "Are you seeing anyone?" to the era of "There's still time," to like, "Oh no," and it's just like, "Oh my God." I don't know why it's so much more acceptable to have a dramatic, nightmarish divorce
Yeah.
than it is to, and it's not like in these, I've been in several relationships where that was on the table, marriage was on the table, and I didn't take that path because I didn't see it working out, and a lot of that had to do with my own issues, and I'm punished for that, you know what I mean? I should have just gotten married and had a dramatic divorce. It's such a weird message. Talk about misogyny, Sutton. Ma'am.
That's what I was going to say when you're like, I don't know what it is. And I was like, well, it's the fucking patriarchy and misogyny. Yeah.
But Sutton ain't the patriarchy. She's one of us. Like, I
She
think that's
supports
what I
it.
react
She
to.
aligns with the oppressor.
Exactly. But they
So,
they all claim they don't. And this is, I know now, I see
oh,
exactly what this stems back to. All of these
I,
women who proclaim to be feminists and supporting women, and
no.
then when they have the opportunity, they just, you know,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
anyways.
I
And
know.
whatever, congratulations, Sutton. Like, you have the most money and the richest ex-husband, and I still don't want to be you.
Yeah.
Your life seems pickled and sad.
Yeah. Yeah. With a recycling bin full of discarded, empty jugs of ruby red grapefruit drink by Ocean
Mhm,
Spray.
mhm,
Mm-mm. Nope. Andy brings up, asks Bose about her fertility journey. She's having a hard time with viewers having such strong opinions about them wanting to have a baby. Like, don't poo poo my dream. And because the transparent thing is, I've been terrified for 16 years to have a kid because of what I went through. So, considering this has been a very big deal for me, and talking about it has made me feel very vulnerable. And it is true. People don't look at the big picture. Everyone sees things through a lens that has been created for us of what is right and what is wrong, and what is the path and what isn't the path. And if it doesn't look like a Hallmark movie or what have you, then it's to be questioned and suspect and side-eyed, and or judged. Fuck that. Anyway.
yeah, and it also is, if things go her way, the child will be so wanted and will
Mm.
come into a home of means. It will not want for anything. Like, what
Mhm.
a lovely life it will lead, and the harder part is she could put all this work in and have no result.
Yeah.
And that is a different kind of devastation. So, like,
Mhm.
just let her live in this moment, in the in between. Like, who
And she's
knows?
she's doing what many of her other castmates aren't doing, which is being vulnerable. She said it herself. She said
Yep.
it herself. So, bravo, Bose. Andy switches to addressing her friendship with Dorit and makes a bad play on bosom buddies with Bose and buddies. And he asks her, what drew you to each other? And Bose says, time and space and opportunity, And then she says, which I really appreciated because we have not seen Garcelle and Bose's relationship be consistent. It's been rocky. They've butt heads before. But again, this is what I really appreciate about Bose is that she has humility in that she doesn't care like Kyle does about saving her fucking face for some made up sense of security. She calls it like it is. You know, she says that she appreciated when she met with Garcelle before they started filming. I was trying to get the gossip out of Garcelle, get the lowdown on my new castmates. And Garcelle said she wouldn't share because she wanted her relationships to be her relationships. Garcelle is a motherfucking class act. End of story. And we are all the worse off for not having her come back next season. So thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Dorit. Thanks, Sutton.
I think it's Sutton that did it. God,
Mm.
it's just heartbreaking.
Jesus
But yeah,
Christ.
I really appreciated that too. And I love Bose for, again, it's just like Bose at the beginning of the reunion said that she was excited about it. And everyone's like, said nobody ever. And she was like, well, maybe it's just because I know I'm right about everything. And
You
I was
know?
like, yeah, she is right because she's willing to acknowledge that Garcelle, which is someone who she does have like conflict with. In this moment, Garcelle did a great service by not poisoning the well. And so she will absolutely celebrate that, you
Yeah.
know? And that
Yeah.
makes her very different from everyone else on the cast who's dug into team whoever, you
Oh my
know?
God.
Mostly team myself, you know?
It's so ugly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
At Garcelle's loving suggestion, when Bose came to Sutton's surrealist party, she was inspired by Garcelle's directive to be open with everyone. And Dorit was open at the same time. And that is how they came to have such a close relationship this season. So,
And I love Bose for suggesting that Kyle and Dorit having some upset about Bose's closeness with, Kyle and Garcelle being upset about Bose's closeness with Dorit. In the after show, I guess Bose had suggested that the jealousy was because she'd found less things to be interested in the others. And I was like,
oh my
ooh.
God.
But can you blame her? I don't know. And Garcelle says that the only time it was a problem for her was in Oceanside when she felt left out when Dorit and Bose were in close conversation at the end of the table. But in fairness to them, Dorit was like newly surprised to be separated. And it just seemed like two friends trying to have a conversation during a crisis. But
I mean, just to back up about like Bose saying that she wasn't finding interest in Sutton and Garcelle, I just like I love Bose, but I'm sorry, that's incorrect. That is incorrect. It's because they know that Dorit is full of fucking shit and fairly fake, and she seemed to glom on to Bose immediately. I don't know. I don't trust Dorit at all. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. That's it. Yeah.
it's complicated because Garcelle gave her the direction to form your own friendship and then like shunned
Oh
her when she did.
no.
And I guess I just feel like something shifted in Dorit this season. I think this breakup from PK, I don't think it's a full 180, but I think she's changing. And I don't know. I trust Bose to sniff out
Yeah.
hardcore bullshit.
You're
And
right.
I
You're
don't
right.
know. There's certainly bullshit. I just don't know if it's hardcore in the way it has been for the last, 13 seasons or
Yeah,
whatever,
I get
10,
it.
however long Dorit's been on. But Bose says she was primarily bothered by this like pervasive belief that she was being manipulated into having certain feelings toward anyone. And I
Mhm.
loved her saying that you all must not think very highly of yourselves
Oh.
if you think I could be manipulated like that. And I was like, ooh, that was a
I didn't
cutting way to put
yeah.
that.
I think that without the context of why Garcelle would be rightfully suspicious of Dorit, like without that context, maybe. But that's a big fucking deal. Like that's why I continue to not trust Dorit. That's one of the reasons, but it's one of the bigger reasons why I don't trust Dorit at all is because of all of her micro and macro aggressions towards Garcelle.
Garcelle's forgiven Sutton's.
I know. Nobody's perfect.
Sure.
Oh my God, I'm looking for any fucking loophole. I'm looking for
Well,
loopholes.
they're everywhere. That's the thing. It's like the what do they call it? Oh,
Willful denial,
I don't know.
wool
I
over my
think
eyes.
Bose, basically she said this notion that she would be manipulated into being Team Dorit was insulting
Yeah.
to her
Yeah.
because she's discerning enough to decide. And they don't have to like her decision, but they don't need to insult her by saying this woman who ran corporate America at the highest levels at the top companies is going to be manipulated by Dorit. Come on.
I know.
Give
I
me a break.
know. I know. And again, I appreciated Garcelle saying, you know what? In all honesty, if I said stuff to you, Dorit, I'm glad you have a friend in Bose. Again, Garcelle showing humility, and I have nothing but respect for her, but Dorit just scoffs and laughs it off sarcastically because I don't believe that she's ever gotten over feeling angry at Garcelle for calling her out rightfully years ago in that season where Dorit wore that sweatshirt that said 90s supermodel. I'm sorry, I just don't. So Andy asks Bose about the comment she made at Kathy Hilton's house about Kyle being cold. And he said Kyle hit back to that comment in the press with a story about visiting you in your room in Oceanside. So what's the real story? Like what really went down? And Bose tells Kyle, you didn't come to my room in Oceanside. And Kyle says, Bose, you don't want to do this. And Kyle tells Bose, look, I was genuinely excited when you joined the show because I feel like I'm a good judge of character and I instantly took a liking to you. I went to Sally Ann, who's a producer, of course, because she's a fucking producer darling, Kyle is, gross, and asked her to take me to Bose's room. And I told Bose she's amazing. I get such a great vibe from you. You're so open. You're so smart. You're so funny. And you know what? I can take a while to warm up to people. It's just my nature. And Bose says, I don't recall this conversation at all. And then, snort this vindication coming up right here. And then Kyle says, okay, well, what about when you had your surgery? I made a point to say, can I go to Bose's house? And we had a really good talk, a deeper than usual conversation than I would have with someone so new, especially with cameras. And then Bose says, thank fucking God. It was also about Dorit.
And
Kyle
it
says,
was
yeah.
from the
And it
flowers to the
was.
picture. It was all about
To the
Dorit.
conversation, like, well, I think she thinks that we're closer than we are.
Uh-huh.
Again, but earlier in this episode, she looks at us all in that soundstage and says, I know her so well. Fuck you.
Mhm.
Fuck you. Fuck your tendrils. So Kyle says, yeah, but we also talked about Mo. And Bose says, yes, but the majority of it was about Dorit. And then Kyle says, you also told me you don't remember the majority of the conversation because you were on paid medication. And then Bose says, the conversations were not that memorable, Kyle. That's what it is. But God damn it, Kyle just has to, yeah, but. She can't just, what's the word I'm looking for, Margie? Nothing is ever. She does nothing wrong, ever.
But she's crazy because to say like, well, you don't remember the conversation because you were on drugs. I'm like, but we all do because we saw it
Yeah.
on film.
Yeah.
You dumbass. Like,
Right?
you can't gaslight us. We
Oh my
watched that
God,
episode.
dude. Oh my God.
She's insane.
She's so intolerable. God damn it. Why can't she quit? Listen, yeah. Oh, Morgan doesn't want to be on camera. You know what, Kyle? Take a fucking break, okay? Go take a fucking break. But we all know that you can't. You cannot step away from this show. You can't do it.
It's her identity.
I
And
was
now
just
that
going to
her
say
marriage
that.
is over, like, this is
And
it.
that's the thing. Garcelle can walk away.
Yeah.
This was her extracurricular fucking activity, dude. This was not her required classes.
And she'll come back. She'll come back.
I think she'll come back as a friend of, for sure.
Yeah, when she wants.
Yeah, exactly. On her terms.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle could never.
No.
Oh, talk about manipulative. She probably ingratiated herself with those producers so that this is exactly, she could safeguard herself against looking bad on camera or losing her job. I don't know.
Well, and she like basically she tried to like alibi herself with
Oh,
producers.
yeah.
She's like, sorry to bring this you into this, Sally Ann, but I called Sally Ann. And it's like, poor Sally Ann.
I
Like,
mean, but like even
God.
like the name dropping, she could have just
Oh
said, I
yeah.
asked a producer, but it's like, I'm so close to the producers that I had Sally Ann take me to the like how do you live with yourself? How do you do it? How? Whatever. Anyway, unfortunately, this is now the time to turn to my least favorite part of this episode where we start Garcelle's package. And
I know. Her
I
last
this was
yeah, her tenure on this show.
this was just cruel and fucking unusual. It was disgusting, uncalled for, and yeah. Anyway, Andy starts the package by saying when she's not calling the shots at work, she's calling it like she sees it, and no one is safe. And then we see her montage. And then Andy says, Erika Jane said on Entertainment Tonight that she wishes Sutton and Garcelle would open up more about their lives. And Erika says, we want the juicy scoop. And
Ugh.
Garcelle says, listen, I wish there was. I don't know what else I would show. I'm working my ass off. I'm with my children as much as I can be. Okay, Erika. Garcelle is soaking up as much time as she can with her kids, her non-adult twin boys. I know you have a real fucking hard time coming to grips with the fact that her sons are children. And so you never take them into consideration when you say bullshit like that. You didn't see it a couple years ago, and you don't get it now because you're a fucking repugnant asshole. I'm so mad. I am so mad at Erika. She's spending time with her kids. They're 16, 17. They're going to fly the coop, dude. They're like moments away from leaving and not coming back, which is what we hope, which is what we prepare our children for, right? Ideally, or that's the typical way. And Garcelle loves her fucking kids so much. She loves all of her kids. She loves her grandkids. She loves her career. Erika, you got nothing going on but some SpawnCon rebuttals.
And a criminal
And
prosecution
a
that you're
criminal
ignoring.
prosecution
So
that you're ignoring.
that.
Exactly. So Andy breaks it down and says, well, they want to know who you're dating.
And basically Garcelle's like, well, I'm not fucking right now. So,
Right.
and Erica's like, well, I just wish you were more interesting, I guess.
Oh,
And
Erika, you're so edgy. You're so edgy, Erika.
and Garcelle says, and this is where I think the moment happened where she was like, oh, I'm done. She just says to Erika, she goes, that's a shitty thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica's like, no, we're in a better place. And she's like, no, we're not. If you're capable of saying that, we're not in a better place. And then Erica weirdly defends this by saying, well, me and Kyle and Dorit are going through ugly divorces. And Garcelle's like, okay, I went through mine before I got on the show. What's the problem now?
And it was butt fucking ugly.
Oh my God. It was
You
all
know?
over, like, yeah. And it was ugly in the best, like most salacious, fun ways, not in these criminal, tragic ways where someone's currently in jail, you know?
Right.
Your husband is in jail, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I just like when Erika was saying that it's just that, me, Kyle, and Dorit, we were going through these ugly separations / divorces. And Kyle is just there at the end of the couch, like nodding her tendrils to and fro and saying, yep, yep, yep.
When
Fuck you.
if the complaint is that Garcelle's not sharing who she's fucking, well, then shouldn't that conversation be directed at Kyle?
Interesting.
Because Kyle is blatantly fucking someone. It's all over the tabloids, but she won't bring it on her stupid show. Like,
Interesting.
what are we doing?
That's a very good
And then
point,
Kyle
friend.
starts whining that she has shared everything over 14 years.
Oh my
She
God.
goes on. And then Garcelle is silent and just says like, okay, but you introduced us to Morgan last year. She was part of the show last year. And we get a lovely montage of giggling Kyle and getting tattoos and all their bullshit. And then Garcelle says, all of a sudden this year, she's still in the press with you all the time, but we are not allowed to talk about it on this show. And Kyle Martyr, goes like, she didn't sign up for this life. She doesn't want this life. And Garcelle's like, she didn't sign up for this season, but she was here last season. And Kyle's like, well, your kid didn't want to be on the show. And I was just like, but Garcelle doesn't act like her children don't exist. Like, what is
Right.
happening? This is insane. I just felt fucking crazy listening to this
mean,
argument.
I mean, she says she looks us all, she looks her castmates and the camera and anyone who's watching, and she says that
Sally Ann.
Sally Ann, Morgan came on the show as a favor to me.
Okay, well, to quote Kyle, that's not my fucking problem. You brought
Oh
her on the
my
show.
fucking God, dude. Like, did she let you tattoo her as a favor? Did she let you co-star in her softcore erotica video where you're in a low-key harness bondage, getup? Is she doing a favor when she plays at your best friend's memorial about laying you down on the kitchen floor and doing cocaine off your belly?
And the clip
Is
we saw where she's like feeding her melon and you know what I
right?
mean? It's like, oh my
Is the
God.
favor in the room with us right now, Kyle? I take a deep breath. I'm going to compose myself.
And then
Take a sip of
Kyle
water.
says she was hurt by Garcelle this season. And Garcelle says, and I was hurt by you. And Kyle is shocked, And like, it just is, it's insane. And Garcelle lays it out. She says what we're all thinking, saying, we would be hypocrites. And she goes, I'll just speak for myself. I would be a hypocrite if all this stuff is happening in the press and we don't address it on the show. Is this reality? If we're just leaving out this massive, like, yes, Kyle, you're going through a painful separation, but a huge part of that is the woman you brought into your marriage last season that now we're supposed to pretend is not a part of your life, even though you chase her all around as she tours the country. Like, come on. I feel crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then Garcelle
dude.
does the little fourth wall breaking and says to Kyle, why did you come to me off camera to talk to me? And Kyle won't get specific, but clearly it's about Morgan and why she will not discuss this on camera. And then Garcelle turns to Sutton and says, what did you say after Kyle spoke to us off camera? And Sutton fumfers some bullshit response about like, well, she wants to protect Morgan. And Garcelle says, no, you said that was a chess move. And that sounds exactly like Sutton to me.
100.
Mhm.
And again, Kyle talking to Garcelle off camera it reeks of the text she sent to Dorit last season before they filmed the reunion that asked her not to bring things like doing damage control, essentially.
Control. Just
Oh, God.
controlling.
Oh,
And
God.
it's getting away from her, and that's why she's whining and yelling and
Oh.
over-talking and leaning and Andying and crystals and all of her bullshit.
Sally Anning and
Sally
tendriling.
Ann, right?
Jesus
It's
H.
all on the
Christ.
table.
Then Kyle projects like the biggest projection I've ever seen, fucking 2025. She says to Sutton and Garcelle, the two of you together are mean girls. Ah!
She
I,
does it to hurt Sutton because she knows that that's true, that Sutton said that was a chess move. And so she does
mm,
this to gut Sutton, and it does.
okay, I can see that. All right. Oh, man. Yeah. I got enraged. I got enraged. I didn't see that. I did not see it. I don't think of Kyle as being that smart. But you're right. She probably did do that. All I did was get offended because Kyle was in Augusta kissing up to Reba and basically saying, I don't get why you don't like your mom. She's fucking rad. And then when Sutton is sitting outside of her childhood home, that well, I mean, we've already talked about what happened in that childhood home. And then says, what? Are you going to change your mind? Are you fucking kidding me right now? They're the mean girl? You're disgusting and selfish and terrible. And by the way, I don't know what the Fox Force lineup is right now. It's the Fox Force 2 with you and Erika because Dorit is clearly the wild card right now. But when, Teddy and Lisa, or I don't know who the other fucking five was, but you guys were disgustingly mean. You guys were mean for sport and you like got off on it as grown ass women, not high school students in a movie. I gave myself a headache right now. I have a headache.
I mean, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And Garcelle is getting exhausted, and she says she's confused because they laughed about all of this at Chuck E. Cheese, and we get a flashback to Garcelle saying, if you want to be a lesbian, and Kyle giggling into her pizza. And then Kyle claims Garcelle said that to embarrass her. And I'm like, you brought Morgan on last season. What is embarrassing? It's not embarrassing. It's just so confusing.
I was so mad when she said that. I was so mad when she said that. Garcelle clearly, if anyone has eyes, she was clearly just trying to like literally get her friend to relax and give her a different perspective. Like, we are here to support you and hold you as you make a significant, profound life change. We're here to help you
And
find your
celebrate
freedom and
you.
celebrate you.
Yeah, it was an
It was
invitation for
fucking
like,
palpable, dude. It was
yeah.
real talk. For Kyle to say she wants to rewrite history so bad, but she forgets that it's on camera. I can't stand her.
And then Kyle repeats that it was an asshole move of Garcelle to say that on camera. And Garcelle, this is again where I think the math is starting, where she's like, okay, and I'm done with the show. She
Yeah.
just goes, okay, you can have your opinion. And then Sutton just sucks Kyle's ass, and Garcelle looks crestfallen, and it's tragic. And Garcelle says maybe it would have been different if Morgan had not been the focus of Kyle's storyline last season. Maybe that part of her life could have remained off camera, but it's very confusing for the viewers as well to have
Dude.
spent all last season watching Kyle's romance with this woman and
Dude.
then being told that she doesn't exist. And then we're supposed to invest in Kyle's separation in a
God.
way that makes no sense when Kyle's the one who left the marriage for the person she's still with. It's just nuts.
It's fucking
nuts.
insanity. It's insanity. It is insanity. And Garcelle is reacting to the insanity the exact way that I remember learning about in Al-Anon, which is you cannot argue with a drunk person. You cannot argue with an alcoholic who is not in recovery. Your job is to say, okay, that's literally a tool they teach you. Like, you just say, okay, because engaging with someone that is so in denial in that moment, no one is going to leave that conversation satisfied. Garcelle was masterful. I was so sad that she was in pain, but man, I mean, she has nothing to go back and apologize for. She has no amends to make. She was clean is what I'm saying, Margie.
Yeah,
She was
and
clean.
her language was really generous because Erika then like insinuates that Garcelle doesn't allow Sutton to have her own
Oh
opinions
my
or
God,
something.
dude.
And Garcelle clarifies that she does not demand loyalty from Sutton, but coming to a friend's defense is called friendship. She's like, I do
Right.
it for Sutton all the time.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
then this is
God.
when Kyle keeps whining and yelling and trying to control everything, saying she's mad at Garcelle because Garcelle said Sutton expected a certain kind of loyalty from Kyle. And Garcelle just says, it's because you are important to her. And Kyle goes, that's not my fucking problem. And I was like, oh my
Can
God,
you imagine?
this
Can
woman
you
is
imagine?
horrific. She's awful. And I was like, goodbye, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't believe that didn't rattle Sutton at all. I can't believe that her takeaway was to come to Garcelle's dressing room after and be like, you really threw me under the bus. I'm like, oh my God, you are not seeing anything clearly.
No. You know what?
Someone just proclaimed that Kyle is important to you, and Kyle's response was, that's not my fucking problem.
Yep.
If you can't deduce where you live in her hierarchy of priorities from that, you got a problem.
Dude, I think I just hit my bottom with Sutton. I think I just hit my bottom. You're right.
That was awful.
When she said you threw me under the bus, you're right. That's repugnant. That's
After Garcelle in
irredeemable.
that conversation was like, I'm having a hard time. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I'm having to tiptoe around everyone and I can't do this. And Sutton's like, hey, you know what? You threw me under the bus. And it's like, oh my God, this woman just said you're not my fucking problem.
Oh
And
my God, dude.
well, okay then.
Yeah.
Apparently they haven't spoken since the reunion.
Good.
Garcelle and Sutton.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Garcelle
that's
deserves better.
I know, but it's heartbreaking.
It is. It is.
They
It
were
is.
such good friends.
I know.
And again, it's for Kyle. That's who Sutton
Ew.
has surrendered that friendship for. Can you believe it? Crazy.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's
Incomprehensible.
no respect, man. I don't bounce back. Like, that's, you lost my respect. You lost my respect.
Yep.
Anyway. Oh, God. So,
The robbery.
oh, that's right. I
We touch on
forgot.
the robbery.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Garcelle, to her credit, is like, I will address this for the last time. And she says, it is my opinion that the robbery was a setup. She goes, I feel how I feel. What am I supposed to do? And Dorit starts some like criminal prosecution where she's like, that's based on nothing. And Garcelle's like, I know. Like, she didn't launch an investigation and put together a legal case, but she's just saying the circumstances are suspicious as fuck. Andy chimes in to say as much, basically saying, like, it's kind of weird that they left your cell phone by the gate. It's kind of weird that the alarm was off that night. It's kind of weird.
And Dorit says, do you think I or my husband would orchestrate this? And Garcelle says, no. I said, I don't think Dorit had anything to do with it, but I think someone did. And I wrote, same, Garcelle, same.
And then in a clip that will not age well, and I hope Dorit listens to this back as the truth that it is. She says, my husband, he must be a sociopath and not give a shit about his family whatsoever, that he would send men into our home at night when our children were sleeping and put me through that trauma. And I'm like, that's exactly who he
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
That's exactly who
Absolutely.
he is. And that led to,
100%.
that was the inciting incident to the demise of their marriage. That's
Yeah.
when it all fell apart because he did not expect Dorit to be traumatized. He
Yep.
expected to get insurance money and to have their financial problems be over. And instead, Dorit needed emotional support from him. And he was like, oh, fuck this. And that was the end of it.
I sometimes think your trauma is bullshit.
It's more annoying.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And
okay.
thank God Garcelle said, I'm not the only one that thought this. And Dorit says, oh, who? You and four people from Twitter? And I was all, bitch, it wasn't just four.
And again, who cares? Maybe that's right. Maybe it's only 4 people on Twitter. But once again, the lawsuits have not even begun yet. So we'll see. We'll see. It matters about
God.
12 people in a jury box. It doesn't matter about a follower count or a like count.
And the anger in which Dorit came after Garcelle in this particular part of the reunion is why I don't believe that she will ever truly feel remorse or be thoughtful and mindful about why she hurt Garcelle so badly season after season after season.
I feel like she's doing what Erika did last season. She is hoping that PK will be investigated but not convicted. And so she's trying to remain in a defensive posture here. But she will soon have to do what Erika is doing this season, which is saying, like, I can't believe Tom was a criminal. I never saw it coming. Like, this will be, Dorit will follow this, well-tread path by these women.
Erika
So,
will tell her how to manage, maneuver all of this chaos because
yeah.
I'll take it from me, honey. Ew.
Yeah, you've really been put through it, Erika. I'm sure all of those plane crash victims would really have a
Yeah,
lot of sympathy for your ass.
I know. Oh, yeah. I bet they're so glad that you finally got to redo your Hancock Park beautiful bungalow.
Oh, her sad little house that's, like,
Yeah,
kind of
I
embarrassing, but
know.
she's just trying to make it her
I
own.
know. Oh, she
Asshole.
deserves to have fun. We deserve to rewrite the rest of our life.
And then they
Anyway,
break for lunch, and Garcelle's first words are, "Can I go home?" And that was
dude.
like, "Yes, you can." And then Sutton, in this gross moment, like, tries to manipulate Kyle for her, like, attention and affection by saying, like, "Everybody hates me. I'm gonna cry." And it does not land. Kyle's just like, "You haven't even started yet," and she just, like, walks away. So, congratulations, Sutton. That's who you fought for. You gave up Garcelle for
Dude,
this fish.
that's not my fucking problem. That's not my
Yeah.
fucking problem.
Oof. That's what she
That's
said, and that
that's
is what
what
her actions are playing out.
you should put her in your cell phone as Kyle, that's not my fucking problem, Richards.
Or just, "That's not my fucking problem." I have someone in my contacts that just says, "Margie, don't," just to remind myself not to answer the
Oh,
call.
I love that.
The
That's
name
great.
isn't even in there. It's just a poo emoji, and it says, "Margie, don't," in all caps.
Yes. Yes,
It
yes,
works.
yes.
And then Garcelle is walking back to her dressing room saying that she's frustrated basically because she can't have an opinion or say how she feels. And she just goes, everyone can go fuck themselves. I don't care.
Mhm.
And this is where she really starts to like, you just sense that she's done with this shit. And Sutton comes to her dressing room and Garcelle says she's having to tiptoe around everyone's feelings and she hates it and there's no space for her to express herself. And Sutton just lays more on her by saying like, yeah, you threw me under the bus. And that
Ye
was some darkness.
Sutton, Augusta. Just look at Augusta. Just look at Augusta. Watch those episodes in Augusta. You selfish little weirdo. We saw true friendship, whether it was done on a reality show or not,
And Garcelle's just been treated by like shit by I mean, she brought Reba
honestly.
like an Hermes scarf. You remember that?
Yeah, I sure
And she's like,
do.
"Is this a joke?" It was like just everything has been awful this season. So if I'm Garcelle, I'm exhausted at this point too. And to
Dude,
have the one person who I've like laid myself out for this season come to me and say like, "I don't like what you're doing." Also, along with everyone else, I know you're exhausted by it, but I also hate you. It's like, nah.
yeah.
And
Oh,
I loved
God.
Garcelle ends with, like, a little monologue where she's pissed off about Erika saying she should be more interesting, and she goes basically, she's like, "I'm sorry I'm not under criminal investigation. Sorry I don't have a rich husband. Sorry I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Sorry I work for everything I have. That's not interesting. Fuck her. Fuck her." I was like, "Yes."
Mhm. Mhm.
I've never heard Garcelle cuss so much in my life.
I mean,
She's
she had
at
every
the end of
reason
a
to.
rope.
Yep.
Yep,
Oh my God, we made it. We made it.
we did it.
Yay! Yes, we
Part
did it.
1. How many
We did
parts
it.
are there this thing?
I have a feeling there's probably 3.
Oh, Lord. All
I
right.
know.
Are
I
there any
know.
husbands that are gonna come out?
Good
They're all
question. I'm not sure.
we had a PK statement and, like, Mauricio would be the only one, right? He won't. He's skiing nude on the slopes in
Oh my
Aspen or
God.
whatever.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what
That's
he's doing.
hilarious. Friend, what else did you watch besides White Lotus?
Honestly, I can't remember anything else because it was so good and I love it so much.
Mhm.
What else did I watch? Oh, I watched, the first installment of the Southern Charm reunion, and I don't know, nothing terribly memorable. I started watching Atlanta. 'Cause I guess we're getting close to the part where Kenya really fucks it all up and does something ridiculous at her beauty opening. Yeah, I don't remember if I watched anything else great. Oh, I've been watching March Madness. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting. I'm like, I know I've been watching TV, so I've been watching basketball.
Lovely.
Kid basketball, NCAA basketball. How about you? What did you watch?
I've been watching grown-up basketball, actually. Yes, I'm loving the Lakers this season, obviously. White Lotus, Yellow Jackets, Summer House. Yes, or Summer House reruns. Taking Josh through season 8
Are you
for the
into the
first
new
time.
season yet or no?
Yeah, I
Oh,
fucking love
okay,
it, and I'm
great.
caught up, and I'm sad that I'm caught up. I love binging Summer House. It's
Great.
so good. It's so good. Oh my God. I love watching Josh watch Carl and Lindsay, like hearing his takes on things. I
Yeah.
really do. Yeah. So we're watching the current season and then the very last season concurrently so
Oh,
that he can
wow.
kind of get like a little bit of a history on the current cast members. And I am like, do you see Kyle Cook? Do you see why I cannot stand this man? He's like, oh my God, yeah, he's a tool. So
Yes.
I think that's it. What was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant this week was, do you know who Gary Gulman is? He's the stand-up comedian who like sort of had like a big moment in, I don't know, like the 2010s maybe. And then he went through what he calls the Great Depression in 2017. He was institutionalized with depression. And his Instagram account is devoted to things to do that helped him fight the Great Depression. And so
Wow.
I've been just looking at it a bunch recently, and it's so helpful and it's so simple. It's all these like handwritten notes that he made to himself of like, you like basketball, do that, and like make a gratitude list. And then he put examples of his gratitude list that were these just 5 a day, like super simple, repetitive day after day things. And so a friend of mine and I have started doing for April, we're just doing a daily little text message gratitude list exchange
Oh,
inspired by Gary Gulman. And it helps because, as you know, there's lots going on personally, locally, globally, nationally, all of the things that
hmm,
can really, my fear and anxieties were starting to like get deep roots. And that's like not a pleasant place to be.
yeah,
And so these little gratitude lists are helping just sort of like lessen the grip in the darkness and sort of remind myself that there's like simple, lovely things on a daily basis that I can also give my attention to. So,
yeah.
Gary Gulman, Instagram,
Mm,
check it
I
out.
love that.
How about you?
This is going to sound a little twisted, but hear me out. My antidepressant this week is that I got to take extra good care of my kid. Leo came down with strep throat. He was sick like 2 or 3 weeks ago, bounced back, and then over the weekend, he just was like, I'm tired. We were supposed to go to a walkathon for his school. And he's like, I don't really want to go. And Josh and I were like, uh-oh. So all weekend, he just did not seem like himself at all. So I just got to take really good care of him until we went to the pediatrician on Monday, where he was diagnosed with strep. And then I got to take care of him that day. And listen, after 2 doses of antibiotics, that kid was back. I don't know. I just got to heap my kid with like extra amounts of TLC, just heaps and heaps of it. Lots of snuggles and like pillow arranging to make someone comfortable. It was just, I want to like do all this while he still lets me, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was my antidepressant. It
I
sounds
love
weird. Like my
that.
kid
No,
was
it
sick,
doesn't.
but like,
No, and strep throat is like that's like knives and like that's such a horrible feeling.
and
I remember that as a kid. I was like, I know this isn't a huge deal, but I think I'm gonna die every time I swallow. It's
yeah,
terrible.
poor
Wow.
kid. Yeah. And speaking of my kid, it is his spring break next week. So we are heading out of town, but we will get an episode together. It's going to be out a little on the late side, unfortunately. We hope to have it out to you the Friday after the reunion airs. So, yeah, so stay tuned and thank you for rolling with those punches. Friend, I'm so glad I got to do this with you tonight. I'm so glad. I feel so much better.
Me too. We did it. Part
We did
one.
it. Part one. All right, everyone, please take care of yourself the rest of the week. If you want to find us, you can on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. Oh my God, I had my Blue Sky pulled up and now I don't know where it is, but I'll try to figure something out about how to get that out. Whatever.
I don't know.
I
I'm so
know.
bad at social media. I'm just like the
I
wrong
know.
person I wish I was better.
I
But
know.
everybody take good care of yourselves and we'll talk next week.
Yeah,
Or
all you have to do is not act like Kyle and Erika and mostly Dorit and for sure Sutton, and you are already ahead of the game. I know that's a low bar. I know everyone's way better than that. I know it. I know it. Drink your water, get your sleep. I don't know. Whatever self care means to you, looks like to you. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I need to just shut the bleep
don't do
up.
that. How dare you?
All right, we'll see you guys. We'll talk
Next
next week.
week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom is a doctor.